make it happen. It should be coming up live now. Sorry. Learning. You know, it's all about when it comes to the ITAM Kitchen. We do our best. We do our best to move forward, and hopefully you're having an awesome day. I know I am, and I appreciate you being here. Making sure this is coming in correctly. What we got right here, let me double check. Everything's working. Cool, awesome. Appreciate everyone joining. We've got Switzerland, have all sorts of things happening here. Cincinnati, Houston, awesome. We're going to learn things, right? And I appreciate everyone and your persistence and patience as I work through some of this, because the whole idea is how do we move forward, right? And what I want to do with this job strategy blueprint is talk you through this. And we've got enough time, we can make it happen. If you didn't hear me previously, I'm going to repeat myself right now. Today's focus as a whole is talking about your job strategy framework. How do you how do you do that for yourself, right? How do you look at yourself to say, okay, supposed to be showing up. Look at here. Okay. Defining what options you have and what you really are passionate about. And that's the whole idea behind the framework. So as we work through this, I'm going to share my screen. I know you got to figure out how much can I do on one thing. I'm about to find out. But that's the whole idea behind the fun, right? So let me hit a screen here, hit a little button, and we're going to work through this. And welcome to the Monday. Welcome to the Monday, because the whole idea behind this is how we can help you go that next step. And yes, you may hear dogs bark in the background. Welcome to my world, right? You may have dogs, you may have practitioners, you may have stakeholders bark in the background. Okay, I'll just call for what it is. There you go. But this is really about you, what your job strategy is to put that in place. So what I did is I put some thought in this. Okay, let's figure out how to go that next step. And the reason why I did this, I saw hundreds and hundreds of people losing their job in our space. Hundreds and thousands, actually thousands now. Because executives didn't understand. You're seeing a lot of posts I'm putting out there about didn't understand what it is, what asset management's about. They say, oh, it's just a resource having in the back room. Yeah, we know that's not right. But okay, let's figure out how we can better communicate that. Look at job descriptions are extremely outrageous. I just saw one this morning. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys have no idea. And it says, well, I want you to do all this stuff plus more. It's like, how do you think? You don't, right? So the whole idea here is how do you put yourself in the driver's seat? Yes, you're looking for a job, but I also want to make sure you find the right job. So you start finding the right job, how do you put that forward, right? So the whole idea is I have an 8-step process, and it's leveraging the word strategy. Go figure. Okay, I'm a strategist, right? But let's talk about this. And as you see it with strategy, right? We're going to self-assess, see what we really want, and we're going to go in detail on this, right? Identify, easy for me to say, you would think I hadn't walked for 3 miles already this morning. I have actually. It was about 25 degrees here in Tennessee. And I've already done a 3-mile walk. I should be good on this. No problem, right? But you're targeting that ideal role. What role do you want? Don't worry about what everyone else wants. What do you want? Because I want you to enjoy this, right? I want you to enjoy your job or whatever you're doing for 30 years like I have. That's the outcome, right? I want you to refine your profile. Once you look at that, see and figure out what's happening. How do you put that next step in place, right? How do you align with others? How are you working that alignment, right? And making sure you have the alignment in place. We're going to talk about that piece. Well, how do you take root with your true tribe? Everyone has asset management in their job description, but are you in the right group, right individuals, the right tribe to be talking with to help you promote yourself as well as help share information? That's important because whether you're entry level or advanced, totally two different worlds. Yes, they're both asset management, but how you're looking at your job function, totally different, right? And then how do you expand? How do you provide that visibility and awareness to others going that next step, right? Then we're going to talk about growing your capabilities. How do you expand that? And not just awareness, but how do you put your own capabilities and grow at the same time? And then you yield that role that is meant for you. So one thing I've learned when it comes to jobs, and I've been in this industry now for 30 years, and I kind of fell into it, right? I was a technical guy. Like I said, I was doing baseline inventories initially. I've done a little of everything when it comes to asset management. Do I know it all? No, and I never will know it all. And I'm okay with that. But what I've learned out of this whole venture is you have to find out what you really want to do. How do you want to expand? How do you want to move forward, right? For example, when I started, I was going to be a software asset management guy. SMS 1.0 just came out, 1.1. I was doing software asset management. Nowhere near what it is today. Not even close. I was doing software asset management in the beginning. It's like, okay, let's start discovering and start looking at the software. How are we going to look at a portfolio? And trust me, software was much cheaper than what it is now. And I found out that wasn't where I was really needed. And when you figure out what your passion is, how you move forward, that's how you further grow. Because instead of doing software asset management as a consultant, I was skilled on it and made it happen. And trust me, I've spent my first 3 months in asset management in downtown Chicago in the CNA building. So I was helping CNA actually do it, CNA insurance back in the day. And being able to put that place. But what I found out was that wasn't where they need my proficiencies. They wanted me to help with the baseline inventory. Yes, baseline inventories, look at the data accuracy, etc. And that's where I started. Back to the data, as many of us say. But it allowed me to advance from one thing to the next to the next. I can go through the whole resume. We can talk about that later. But more importantly, let's talk about how the strategy works for you. Because when you look at this, and please chime in. I'm trying to look for captions and chats. Oh, there it is. Okay. Appreciate you put it out here. Good morning. Appreciate everyone being here. But self-assess. We're going to start with the self-assess. Because when you look at this, you start thinking about what do you really enjoy? When you say all this out here, right? But what do you, when you put the resume on the side, put all the job description to the side, take all the chaos you're seeing, you're dealing with, and say, this time's for me. But more importantly, say, when it comes to asset management, software asset management, or even configuration management, what am I really skilled at? What just makes me light up? Not an angry perspective, actually just the opposite. What makes me really enjoy what I do? Because I love it. I want to stay here. So what space is I really enjoy? He's like, well, I like all of it. Okay, time out. Let's step back, right? Yes, you can try to look at all of it, but look at asset management, software asset management, configuration management. That's a lot. That's a really lot. That's a really lot. Gosh, what's my grammar already? You would swear I'm just frozen for some reason. I don't know. But look, that's a lot to consider. But with all that, just narrow it down. Think about those activities you really enjoyed and thrived at. Start reflecting to say, oh, wow, I remember doing work on this project, having these type of results, management lit up. I really connected with them. Those are the experiences you want to capture, right? Because when you think about that self-reflection, write those down. Write down, spend like 15 minutes on it. And write down something you think about now, write some notes. This is a note-taking opportunity, right? Take some notes. Because when you start thinking about things, and just write down as I'm talking, right? Write down 3 things. And just say, God, this was awesome. I really enjoyed it. This is why I'm here. I'm right here. It gets you excited, right? It's like, oh my gosh, good enthusiasm. For example, for me, what drives me, I love understanding the bigger process and helping light up a room. Totally light up a room. I don't care if it's one person, a practitioner, it could be 100,000 people in the room. If all of a sudden the light bulb goes on for that individual where they get the message and they're able to make their next step, you've done it for me. That's it. That's what makes me thrive. That's my true passion. So that's what puts them to me. But when asset management, what am I good at? Data quality, integrations, stakeholder alignment, process, and talking about, okay, best practices, what it is for that organization, and aligning to what it is versus throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Yes, that is a thing. Try to avoid it. I'm just using examples. I thoroughly thrive on that. And anybody knows me, you know it, right? Now, did I learn all of it all overnight? I did not. But am I extremely proficient like data normalization? Absolutely, I can do data normalization. But look at software compliance and know all the nuances behind Microsoft? No way. I just call it, right? That's a Sasha thing. Absolutely. That could be a Jeremy thing if he wants to do Jeremy, for those that sing Jeremy, right? That can be Several. That could be Patrick. You saw Patrick on Thursday and Friday. But it's also being able to, when you look at that, what are your skills? Inventory your skills, what you're proficient at, and talk about how you can further expand that. For me, it's about communication. I've worked on communication throughout forever, right? Because I had to figure out how to better present myself, communicate in multiple different levels. Did this happen overnight? No, this has taken 30 years to be like this, right? What if you knew me 30 years ago? I was not quite this outgoing, is the best way to put it. And you can ask my ex-wife. Totally different person, totally different personality, and I would never go live. Never even thought about it, right? But being able to be pushed and say, okay, what's your inventory? And I'm not talking about inventory management. That's a little different. But what skills do you have in your own toolbox that you can immediately say they're proficient, you can put out there? That's what I'm talking about. So are there any skills that you can think of that you're very proficient at? Write it down. Put it here in the chat. What skills come to mind for you? Don't be shy. Write it down, because that's what we're talking about. How are you putting it out there? Write it down real quick. What's out there? What comes to mind? Maybe it's looking at spreadsheets and saying, how do you normalize the data? I've done tons of that, or look at the data itself, right? That data normalization can be very tactful and painful all at the same time, right? But how do you look at this? How do you move that next step, right? How do you drive that? How do you look and say, okay, I've got this, but how do I identify now what gaps I have within that data? Maybe it's something you're really proficient at, helping other team members get in alignment. Right. That's awesome. So as you know your reflection, your skills inventory, right? Now you're going to say, I've got this. This is awesome. You're going to say, this is actually where I want to be. Let's identify those gaps. Where do you need to take that? Where do you need to take your skills and inventory in your skill set, right? And do a little bit of research. You need to do market research too. So you could probably say the market research happens before the gaps. Totally get it. What I say about market research is look at job descriptions and say, oh, that kind of sounds pretty cool. I get excited about that. Or it's like, I have no desire to do that. For example, for me, software compliance, I'll give reports all day long. I'll give the report outs, make it happen. Understand all the nooks and crannies of how Oracle works or Microsoft or IBM, et cetera. Honestly, it's not my space. I know, and I can call it out. It's not that, okay, I'm deficient in that. I have no desire to do it. It's not me. And I want you to think about that. Think about what you really enjoy and how you're doing it, right? Because when you think about that, that's what excites you. Now, maybe you want to go in that space. I had someone just recently do a direct message to me on LinkedIn. Oh, I want to start doing more software asset management. Okay. Well, what does that really mean? You want to wear the workshops? You want to figure out the process? Do you want to really understand how your technical skills, in this case, it was a technical person, helps automate the processes in place because you've never been told that? Okay, let's start there. And from there, figure out how we can help you determine that next step. Because when you start going down there, it helps you identify the gaps. And the gaps in this case is not negative. It's more about growth. Okay. Well, enough on self-assessment. I could keep going for hours on this stuff. I could probably do 1 hour per slide. So that's about 8 hours on just strategy framework, right? So we're going to keep going because we have limited time. We'll go to the next step. Let's look here. What's that ideal role? I look at your core competency, brainstorm on what you want to be part of it. Where do you really want to move? Do you want to grow? Do you want to stay in the same place? And everyone's a little different. If you want to stay in the same place, that's not bad. It just means you're okay where you are. I know for me, I love to expand. Growth is huge to me, right? And for me, being able to say, okay, well, do something I haven't done. Yeah, I can get through some nooks and crannies. I have lots of stories, etc. Because I've become a storyteller. I'll be honest. But identify when you think about those competencies, what kind of responsibilities you want to take on. Like for me, after I finished doing delivery, for 25 years. I said, I want to go into pre-sales. But I identified it because when I was at HP Software, there's no way I could have gone to pre-sales. It wasn't going to happen because I was one of the top individuals to understand the product. So I had to leave the company in order for me to go to pre-sales. That's how I ended up at Flexera. I started writing business cases. I did not touch the tool at all. I went around a little bit and said, okay, here it is. We'll just say I scratched my head on some things, how they work, but that's a whole different topic. We can talk about that later. I also said, okay, where do I really want to go? What type of culture I want to be around? Do I want dog eat dog? Do I want something that's very family friendly? Do I want something kind of in between? I want something that's going to allow me to travel more. And when you think about that, what are those key words that you can put in place that you want to make sure it's in leverage with when you look at your competencies and responsibilities, right? Because then you're going to pinpoint what you really want your next step to be. And we're going somewhere with this, right? Because when you look at all this, you're thinking about what your job description is, what that CV is that you want to define. Because when you do this, now we go to the next part. We're the R in strategy, right? Did S, T, and R. We're on R now. Is we're going to refine your profile. We're going to refine the profile to what you're proficient in. You can see a little bit of the previous. Like, yeah, I've done this, this, and this. But here's where I want to go. Helps you with the cover letters. Helps your CV/resume, your LinkedIn profile. You start crafting it. See what we're doing? It's like, but Bill, it's not what the job description says. It says, I get it. I get it. We're getting there. We're getting it. Don't get caught up in that. We're getting it because here's why I say that. Right now, they're in charge of you, right? Yep, just now acknowledge it. They're in charge of you. We're going to flip this. I want you to be in charge of your own destiny versus them defining the destiny for you. That's scary. It should be. That means you're growing and growth and you know where to go. But work on that branding. Figure out what you're really proficient at. For me, I love helping enable others. I can do this for executives. I can do it for practitioners. I can do it for conferences. I've been a public speaker now for 27 years. Oh my gosh, I feel old. I am old, but that's a whole different story. And that explains the hair. Lack thereof as well as the color. But also look at the on your job boards, look at things a little bit differently. Say, okay, I now know what it is that I really, really, really enjoy. I know how I want to move forward, and I know how I want to thrive. This is exciting. It's totally exciting, right? So when you think about this, I'm making sure my audio is working. It is. Cool. One thing when you're doing also all yourself, you've got all 3 screens, you've got to figure this out. Welcome to my world. You get the insider scoop with the ITAM Kitchen, right? I'm telling you how it's all put together. And the whole idea here is I'm trying to help you figure out what you want to do. That's the whole idea behind the strategy framework. Because when you start thinking of the profile, you update, you do your CV, you have the cover letter. Yeah, you're going to tweak a little bit as you have each opportunity. It's great, but you know what your core focus is, right? You're not all over the place saying, okay, I know the life cycle processes. I know how to do the integrations. I know how to do X, Y, and Z. And you may know that. That's great. But try not to be the unicorn. And here's why. Unicorns are short-lived. Oh, they'll keep me forever. No, they won't. They're going to get used to you versus having the right additional team members. And I want you to be amongst a team, not what in the US we call a lone ranger, which means you're doing it all by yourself. That unicorn / lone ranger, right? So as you go through here, now you post your cover letter and your resume / CV on those job boards. Like, here's me. Here's Mr. Bill, and here's what I can do, and here's how I can help you. It's your selling position. So you think about that, right? Okay, so again, we're going here. Try to keep on point. It's crazy, but we're doing okay. So let's go to the next one. Next one here. What do you guys think so far? We're doing good? Looking good? Well, keep it up. Keep it up. Make it happen. And as we go through this, right, now we start our alignment. You're starting to connect with others. You've met peers. Now you want your peers to understand what you do well. It's like, well, that's kind of scary. I haven't talked to this person in 5 years or 10 years. Well, today's a great day to reintroduce yourself to that person, see how they're doing, and say, by the way, I'm looking for a job. If you know anything like this, know anyone that can help, you can contact me. It's that type of networking that's huge, right? That's that connection, right? So leverage what you have. You already know the right person that's going to help you proceed. The question is, who is that? And help identify who that is. Go to industry events. If that's going to help you, make it happen. Now, those industry events, maybe asset management, maybe something else, right? Maybe it's more of an executive type of session. It's like, have you thought about X, Y, and Z? Just to learn about what the executives are thinking, because that's where your brain is. Well, great, make it happen. And when you get that opportunity for an interview people. You can do that proactively before you ever get asked for an interview. Talk to some of the industry experts. You can talk to me as an example. Ask for an interview. And it's like, we're going to have set up a 30-minute session. So I just want to tap your brain to see what you're seeing out there. That's huge. Huge. You know how many people do that? Say less than 5%, probably less than 2%. When you do that, totally different world. And then online networking like LinkedIn, huge. Figure out who's out there, who are your contacts. Even here in the ITAM Kitchen, the IT Management Co-op's the same thing. How can it help you move forward, right? Next, when you start expanding, right? Now we're going to take root with your tribe. Where's that tribe? Identify who you want to be around. Where do you actively participate? Maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's another collaboration, maybe it's here at the kitchen, you're collaborating as well. Figure out how you can move forward, right? And I think I'm good. Should be good. Make sure I'm good. I am. Okay. Again, I don't have anybody else here, so it's just me. And it's like, okay. But when you start doing this, you show your expertise, you're participating, you're actually building your own brand. You may not realize it, but that's what you need to do. That's called marketing. You may say, well, I don't market. It's like, you are now. There's also talking about selling, because you have to sell yourself. Well, I'm not a salesman. It's like, yes, you are. You may not leverage it, but we all sell each other. And I'll give an example. So my girlfriend the other day said, okay, we're going to go out to eat. Great. Well, I'm going to go over here. Let's go over here because this has some great pasta, or we can go to the pizza and do pizza and beer and enjoy it because it's really awesome and tasting. Well, what do you call that when someone does that? Salesmanship. Yes, you just got sold on it and she wants to go that direction, so you'll probably end up going that direction. Or if that's your significant other or a guy, you're going to probably say, oh, that sounds really good, make it happen, right? It's salesmanship. You do exactly the same thing. You just have a different passion how you look at it. And maybe it's about the pizza place. Maybe it's about Thai food. I don't know. It's up to you. But you sell all the time. This is about showing and demonstrating to others, right? Because when you establish that presence in your own community, people are aware of what you can do. Maybe, just maybe, the person you're talking to may not be the person that's trying to hire you. But maybe that person has influence with another person. Maybe this person's their neighbor at their house. They're having a conversation over the fence. You know how that works, right? It's like, yeah, I need this asset manager. I don't know where to find him because I've got all this stuff and resumes I'm trying to go through. And your neighbor goes, you know what? I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day. And they might need to be that person because they're looking for a new job and it might be right up your alley and they want to be, especially in your finance. And they just came from a finance role. It's like, really? You never know what those conversations are going to occur ever. Therefore, that's about building you. Again, you're getting inside scoop you're not going to see anywhere else, right here in the ITAM Kitchen. This is also what we talk about inside the co-op. Because have we tried this in the last year? Absolutely. I have a couple practitioners. I have one that's kept his job and be able to figure out how he communicated with his leadership, still doing it. I have a conversation with him actually right after we're finished with this And I have another one who was out of a job. But because he focused on what he really enjoyed and knew what it was, he was able to get himself hired as a contract with somebody he used to work with. But until you really focus on what you're doing and building this, it doesn't happen. See my point? So let's talk about how to move this forward, right? So this is the T. Now, expanding the awareness. Identify where you want to work. Oh, I want to go work for Amazon or Yahoo or take your pick, right? State Farm. I'm just naming a company. It could be Citicorp. It could be, just pick your company, right? Identify like 5 of them you want to work through. Maybe it's down to 3, right? And from there, peruse their website and see where they are in your space. And they may not have anything. Okay. So you may actually go through LinkedIn and see who's actually working there in that role currently. See if they need help. That doesn't hurt to ask. Everyone asks for help. Everyone would like to say, how can I help you? Don't do the sales pitch. Just be straightforward with them, right? But when you respond on those job boards and websites, be specific within that CV and cover letter, what you're really good at. And always follow the instructions, what's on that job board, because they may say you're going to wait for 3 months prior to getting a response. You need to be prepared for that, because if you submit it and the next day you're expecting an immediate response and they say 3 months later, or whatever that duration is, it's not going to help you because you need to follow the instructions. Okay, next, we're up to grow. So as we're going here, how do you identify the growth area? How can you be more strategic with your skills, right? How can you cultivate it to say, I can do more? This is about you and saying, I know what I want. I know what I enjoy. It's also, I know where I want to go. So while I'm going through the job search, making all that happen, how can I start learning it? Who can I network with? Who can I start learning skills and cross-pollination with, right? Figure out what those learning resources, whether it's an individual, a group, etc. Maybe you want to come with in the co-op and say, okay, I want to learn about this. Great, let's get you on board. But realize this is where you have to take action for you. It's not about someone else pushing you. You have to push yourself. And that's extremely important, especially when it comes to the interviews, the roles, etc. And I'll give an example. When you start looking at how you're pushing yourself, if I'm a hiring manager, I want to see that. I want to see that for sure. Now, why do I want to see that? Because I want to see that you have the mojo or you're able to advance yourself. I'm looking for a self-driven individual. Because when you start applying those skills and say, okay, I need to grow in something new, that means I can trust you're going to be here and not just be stagnant. That's what I want. That's huge. And when we talk about those new skills, highlight it on your resume, your profile. Put it in LinkedIn and say, I just completed this. But don't just do your recording and say, I've completed this. Talk about, I see it all the time. Talk about what the 3 things you actually learned within it. That means you're actually paying attention, you're being collaborative, you're also being communicative. Easy for me to say. I can say that, and I couldn't say some other words earlier. But how are you moving and teaching yourself as you're going through this whole process? Because you know what? I'll give you a little scoop. We're going to back up a second. You know why, if you lost your job, you know why you lost it? You're supposed to. That means you have an opportunity to grow and thrive. Yeah, it's scary. You may not be getting a paycheck. I totally get it. But this is up to you to figure out how to drive that forward. That's what executives are looking for. Not about having a pity party and crying. It's about figuring out, okay, how do you move forward? So when you put those new skills on the resume, say, I just learned it. Awesome. Next. Oh, where am I? Oh, I'm right at the end of this. Perfect. The why in strategy is you get that role. You prepare for the interview. And if you want to prepare for interviews, be part of the co-op. And we do these all the time. Because when you start looking at that, how are you preparing that next step? So you work with those, depending upon the role, is extremely important. We're going to help you. For example, in the co-op, what we do, we help identify and profile the individual. From there, saying you should expect X, Y, and Z, and probably here's the top 5 questions. Also, go through what I just recently posted on LinkedIn in the last 2 weeks, talking about what are those key interview questions executives should be asking you. Did that on purpose. I did that for the executives so they knew which question to ask, so they could talk about their level. I also did it for you, so you had insight what's going to be asked. And keep in mind, once that momentum gets started, it keeps going. It's like, well, that's a dry spell. Think about when you have a big project. Does it start immediately, just happen on its own? No. You take it one step at a time. One step at a time. And lastly, secure that role, make it happen, pull it in, say, I've got it. Now, you can see, and you should celebrate at that point. You should celebrate each one of these. But the other part, when you secure that role, don't just stop growing. Be fine. Figure out how you can move that forward, right? That's what I'm talking about. How can you move that forward? Okay, let's look right here real quick. My tech's not working quite right, so I'm just making. Okay, we're still live, which is awesome. But being able to say, how are we going to look at this? How are we going to strive and thrive? Right? What's that next step I need to look at? This is doing it here. I know I learned these skills. Now, how do I apply them? Now you get to understand how to put it within the enterprise. That's exciting. And what's the result from all of this? Oh my gosh. Pure awesomeness. The pure awesomeness is because you took the steps to move forward. You took those steps to refine your focus, to refine your messaging, to collaborate, to align your goals with what you really enjoy. Don't worry about the industry, worry about you and enjoy, right? And maybe you do a little AI on the side. Talk about it. I'm playing with AI. And tell them you're just playing with it. Don't say I'm an expert. Say I'm playing with it. I totally get it. Be respectful on that side because they want to know. Because you're also defining expectations. You know who you're defining the expectation the most for? You. You define your own expectations. Say, here's what I really enjoy. Here's what I want to do. And here's the type of role I want. You are now in charge of your own destiny. You know what the secret is? Always been there. You just didn't realize you had this power. No one talks about this. But when you look at this, putting that next step, your happiness quotient goes to the roof. I'm not talking about just happy. You're on cloud 13, 41, 69, wherever the number is, right? It could be 1,000 to 200. I don't know. It depends where you are. But your happiness quotient goes through the roof. It goes right through the clouds and keeps on going because you're enjoying what you do. It's all because you have a specific strategy you're working on. You're following the 8 steps. Can be further refined and refined as you go through the process and you grow and thrive. Because when you look at how you self-assess, identify that target role, refine your profile, aligning with others, taking root with the tribe, expanding how you do it and who you do it with, and that visibility, you're growing your own capabilities at the same time. And that yield is saying, boop, I'm ready for the next step. Boop, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready for the next step. That's what we're talking about. That's what I wish for you in 2026. If you're seeking a role, totally get it. A lot of people are. But the question is, are you seeking the right role? Is this actually the role for you, or are you just looking for a job? I can tell you, and I have peers actually online right now that are just looking for jobs. They've been miserable. Yeah, I might have paid a few bills here and there, but at the end of the day, was it worth it? Sure, a little bit, but there's a reason why they're not there anymore. It could be skills, communication, lack of alignment. It could be unable to connect with management and leadership. I was talking with somebody on my walk this morning. He says, I hated my boss. That happens. I've had a couple of those myself. Sometimes you have those bosses that are totally painful. I've had something. It was a pretty painful experience, but you know what? I grew from it. You know what? I'm still in the industry. She's struggling. You know what? When you figure out what your real jive is, nothing else matters. That's what I wish for you. As you look at this, as you move forward, how you drive and strive, make it happen. So here's my question. Here's my question for you. What questions do you have? Again, I just went through the whole job strategy framework. Something it's kind of self-created, but the whole idea is how we have that collaborative side. How do we look and say, we've got this when there's more to give? How do we drive ourselves to be the best consultant or practitioner we can be? Yeah, I see all the posts as far as I recertified my certification, etc. It's like, yeah, so what? So what? If it's not serving you, really serving you, why are you doing it? I ask for you today. And this is about having useful information to help you serve yourself better. When you think about that, how do you do that? How do you work and say, I've got this. I can thrive. I can move forward. I totally understand what I'm doing here. Well, maybe you don't totally understand. Sometimes I question what I do. But how do we further strive and drive? Well, for the ITAM Kitchen, it's Mr. Bill. Today was about the job strategy framework. Put that in place, help drive that forward, and figure out, okay, how do we look at this? Now, also keep in mind, we're working through this. What's that next step? How are we driving it forward? Look for an announcement very soon about tomorrow. I don't have anything else for you right now, but the whole idea is ITAM Kitchen here for you. Not anybody else, for you. How are you going to leverage it? This information is extremely powerful. What you just received could have been a $10,000 course. How are you going to consume it? Actually, it's a $200,000 course. You know why? It just got you the job offer you're looking for you to enjoy, for you to thrive. Did you figure out what that next step is? How are you going to use it? There's the question. Well, that's Mr. Bill for now. I really appreciate your time today, but I want to make sure at least put it out there. And from a Motivation Monday perspective, because today's a Monday, how are you motivating yourself? How are you looking at yourself go that next step? What we're talking about. Look at, thrive, make it happen. And well done, and look for something tomorrow. I'm going to find out very shortly if I have a participant for tomorrow, and we'll make that happen because I know we have a lot of hot topics on several different fronts. I look forward to having them here on the air. Well, it's ITAM Kitchen for today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye now.